Hello, everyone, and welcome to MakerShift 2021. I'm Kristen McMahon, owner and director of Challenge Island Central PA, and I'm pleased and honored to be here with you today. I'd love for us all to be together in person, but I love even more that we are still bringing our community together through MakerShift and STEAM to advance our community. So I start today with a question. Are you up for the challenge? I know the answer is yes. I can just see those heads nodding now. Are you up for the challenge of signing the MakerShift Manifesto with me? I knew the answer was yes, so go ahead if you haven't already and join me in signing this living document as a maker of change in my community. That's my screenshot from my own signature. It's makershift.io/manifesto. If you haven't done so already, please go ahead and do so. We all know that small changes together can add up to a big change. The more of us that make this commitment to our community, the greater change we will see. I also have to start with a thank you. Thank you to those of you who make for a living and or provide tools and resources for other makers. We are pleased to emphasize the wonderful works of STEAM in our community. And now we go full steam ahead. You know I had to use that pun somewhere. We're going to look at STEM versus STEAM today, and we're going to incorporate that in a couple different ways. Where did it come from? Where are we now? And what are we doing as a community and working together to advance STEAM in our communities for our advancement? What is the A in STEAM and why do we need it? I'm betting that if you are involved in the MakerShift community already, you get those questions. And it's interesting because STEM adds that A in here, and we're going to take a look at why. We've heard of STEM for quite some time, and we'll take a look at where that came from and why we added the art into that. And that's STEM education and more. STEM, as we know, science, technology, engineering, and math, is that buzzword in education. It has been tied to ensuring our children's future in the 21st century marketplace and to the future of our society on the local, national, and global levels. Today, we're most interested in our local section, and as we know, that will pay it forward if you think about it that way. Now, this is both private and public sectors that are reporting that 21st century workers require skills that many of today's graduates don't have. Students need more in depth knowledge of math and science, plus the ability to integrate and apply that knowledge. That is so key. Those are the keys to success for solving the challenges facing our nation and, most closer to home, our own community here in Central PA. So, children who study a STEM curriculum also develop a variety of skills that are essential for success: critical thinking, problem solving, creativity, innovation, communication, collaboration, and entrepreneurship, just to name a few. And here's the thing: many education experts, including here at Challenge Island, believe that STEM is incomplete without that addition of an A for art. In fact, excuse me, many would say that STEAM is the new STEM. Check it out. STEM and art equals STEAM. Okay, we've got that down. Well, STEM began because of the noticeable lack of graduates entering the fields of engineering and science in the US compared to other countries. Here's a little story. I actually come from a STEM and STEAM career. Well, I first heard of STEM when my soon to be 16-year-old twin nieces were in early middle school, so probably fifth grade. And they started talking about STEM, and I didn't have any idea what that meant. And so once we realized that it was an acronym, it started to really start to, be front and foremost. Chances are on most toys or boxes of educational items or even baby toys that you pick up today, the box most likely has something about STEM on there, and it will tell you which areas it actually is focusing on. So back to the A. STEAM was developed in 2006 by Georgette Yackman. She started the movement as a research project while a postgraduate in college. So she and herself was studying the science of a research project following the scientific process. At the time, she attended a STEM based polytechnic college. Well, she has used STEAM with significant results as a full time middle school and high school teacher. So, if we had pop quizzes, this is where I would say, what was the original acronym for STEM? Do, 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 do. Pencils down. Did you say SMET? Because that is absolutely correct. The original acronym for STEM was SMET. Boy, am I glad that they figured out to improve that process. Here at Challenge Island, we use wacky vocab, incorporating those arts into our lessons. We already talked about STEM and the focus of the process and inquiry. Look at that arts integration in the middle. This interweaves the arts and at least one other area of study with naturally aligning, equitably assessed standards, Common Core curriculum. And there we get STEAM. We're using the design principles and processes from the arts to manipulate science, technology, engineering, and math, STEM and arts integration combined. And that leads us to our Google study. This talks a lot about our 21st century skills. This comes back to STEAM and the 21st century skills that are involved that we already talked about. And so your second challenge is to go ahead and check out this article. I'm going to paraphrase a few things from it, but there was a surprising thing that Google learned about its employees and what it means for today's students. I love this part. So you need to Google the Google study. It is out there from the Washington Post, and that is back from 2017, around the same time as our STEAM greater ecosystem of Central PA came to be. Well, here's what happened. Google, since its existence, had done a hiring algorithm. And so what they did is they really followed a STEM only approach. Okay. So a lot of the push, right, was happening around this time that students, when they want to be at their college applications, they wanted parents and educators emphasized they should put that they have a focus on STEM. So, the brilliant computer scientist co-founders, Sergey Brin and Larry Page, realized or came to the hiring algorithm that that only technologists can understand technology. I say that with a smile. So the hiring algorithms were set to sort for computer science students with top grades from elite science universities. Then the study came in 2013 where they tried to identify the top characteristics of success at Google. Guess what? They were all soft skills. They fall into what we've talked about as 21st century skills and that we will talk about. So, being a good coach, communicating and listening well, possessing insights into others, including others' different values and points of view, having empathy toward and being supportive of one's colleagues, being a critical good thinker and problem solver, and being able to make connections across complex ideas. So rather than being able to just have the knowledge, it's being able to apply it. And that's exactly what the arts allow us to do. It allows us to reach that higher level of thinking. So Google ended up changing that hiring algorithm and they definitely started to incorporate the humanities and arts into the teams. And think about project management. We talk about that a lot in STEAM and project based learning. Well, in the workforce, quite often we're working in teams. And sometimes in the workforce, we often think of, well, I'm a project manager. So what does that mean? Well, many people are project managers. If they are working with a team, you are project managing that team and you need to come to a solution. Well, here's the spoiler alert. End paragraph. No student should be prevented from majoring in an area they love based on a false idea of what they need to succeed. Broad learning skills are the key to long term, satisfying, productive careers. What helps you thrive in a changing world is not rocket science. It may just well be social science, and yes, even the humanities and the arts, you guessed it, that contribute to making you not just workforce ready, but world ready. I say a lot that I somehow get myself into interesting situations, such as continually locking myself out of my car in college. There were no apps to get me out of my car in college to unlock that. So, when you get yourself into enough situations that you need to create solutions to problems, you get to be pretty good at coming up with solutions to problems. So, before we look at STEAM in our community, I just want to emphasize a little bit more on what we kind of talked about. The T in technology. One of the things that I love to do is ask Challenge Island attendees, participants, whether that be families, whether that be workforce teams, or our students, what is your definition of technology? The first thing that my students say in the 4 to 14-year-old range is iPad, iPhone, computer, video games. These are absolutely technology, but they are all devices. And we all know in the makershift community, as a maker, technology is not always devices. I picked up my 2 pieces of paper, and you can do the same. These pieces of paper alone are 2 pieces of paper. This is a paper clip. We have one of our favorite pieces that we do is copters here at Challenge Island. And you would think that we just launched into outer space when we do our copters. We define technology as a solution to a problem, right? But we also are taking one substance and we are applying another substance and we are changing the original. So what we used to have was 2 pieces of paper. I also like to say that I'm pretty magical for my kiddos. And we apply the paper clip. So someone out there, there's another challenge for you. You can figure out. I didn't look up who created the paper clip, but someone made this paper clip. Just like all of us, we are making things for each other. And now that person who created the paper clip had 2 pieces of paper that continuously were leaving each other, and now they stay together. Technology. So we looked at Google and that community. Let's look at STEAM in our own community here in Central PA. We have STEAM all around us in our community. Science. We're going to do each one of these because why not? Well, we have Rite Aid in our community. We have health systems in our community, and we have Indian Echo Caverns. There are various disciplines of science, and it is all around us. Here at Challenge Island, we do have STEAM building, and we bring those teams together using those same principles, and we follow our totem pole of engineering that you can see behind me, even though I'm probably pretty tiny. And we follow the same principles because it applies any program, including to seniors, can do science and have that engagement and higher level of thinking. Well, here's the funny story about science. So I did not even realize this is how far behind we are in STEAM and STEM. So I'm a pharmacist by trade. I did not realize until Challenge Island and I found each other that I was the S in STEAM. I always said I was a scientist, and I never realized that it was part of STEAM. So we have a lot of work to do in ensuring that we create awareness for STEAM in our communities and what those careers mean to the United States as we continue to advance, and especially for women like me. We also, those are the two subsets between the US and the women. We have a lot of opportunity to continue to advance STEAM in our communities. How about that technology? We already talked about it. I don't see a paperclip manufacturer here, but we have Harrisburg University. How fortunate are we to have this literally downtown? Vager Dental Lab, and TE Connectivity. Now, check this kid powered technology out. This is screen free activities here, cross curricular activities here at Challenge Island. And look at that technology. Talk about the original definition for sure. Engineering. We have Mackin, PennDOT. There's so many engineering projects that go on. When we're driving down the highway, I know that I get fascinated by the construction trucks, but there's so much in the engineering process behind that that had to come from following that engineering process. And Gannett Fleming, incorporating the arts into difficult principles like engineering, math, and science allows us to apply that knowledge, which is really making us to go as high as we can when we are creating. Okay. One of my favorite things is when we end our virtual sessions and parents will tell me, my children just kept building. And so that is a really great testament of how they unlock that creativity. And once that's unlocked, they really just keep building. Art, Carlisle Arts Learning Center, the Whitaker Center, and the Belmont Theater. There it is again. Our STEM plus art equals STEAM, creating that higher level of thinking. Math. One of the things about STEAM when we do this as a mindset, STEAM is a mindset, is that we wipe away that mindset of the actually not even kids, any of us, kids, adults, seniors, say, I'm not a math person. I'm not a science person. I'm not an arts person. I'm not creative. Once you have all of this in one cross curricular activity and you're incorporating those 21st century skills, you're doing these things without even knowing it. So, of course, for math, we have accounting all around. Tax season is just about finishing up and it just comes right back, right? As soon as you finish it, it feels like mathnasium and mathletes. So now we're going to take a look at Challenge Island in the community, and we're going to do that in a video. I do need you to have your own holding music I'm going to stop my share for 1 second, and then I'm going to bring up my other share. Thank you for your patience. I appreciate your holding music, and it's a short 30-second video. You heard it, 21st century skills, communication, collaboration. Again, something that we need to do in all versions. Oh, that little guy keeps playing. There we go. That was Monster Math. That was fun. There we go. And so that's one aspect of it. But in our own community, we need each other as makers. How do we employ STEAM? Well, we need t-shirts. And so we need our local makers, not only from the design perspective, but from the production perspective as well. Marketing. We all need to get our messages out there and promote each other. Photography studios and dance studios and able to have that space for our challenges to be created. Well, and again, we saw it in action, but I'll just reiterate. We employ STEAM by teaching it. We create awareness. We educate our future workforce of how to think about solutions to problems using that engineering process. One of my favorite things that is instilled is never give up. One of my favorite things to say is to point blank look at any Challenge Island participant and really anyone and say, "You might fail today." And then I quickly say, "And that's okay." It's not often that we hear that. We definitely need to hear that more often because we learn from failure. I think a lot of us as makers do know that. And so we use that engineering process to learn. And the most important thing that we instill is that we share in that engineering process because then we can continue to advance. Think of all the advances that it seems like we've had in science in just this past year alone. Science is moving at its normal speed. I think it's getting a lot of recognition about all of the things that happen sort of behind the scenes, and the technology as well. One of my favorite things is now some of my favorite restaurants I can order online. Those are technologies that weren't there before. So we have definitely some positives coming out of our challenging past year for sure. We also provide education and encouragement for the makers of our community, as we talked about Steam Builders, and we are community partners with our West Shore Rec, our Mechanicsburg Parks and Recs, our nursery schools. And you know why STEAM, 21st century skills. We talked about imagination powered technology. We all we all have technology around us. One of my favorite things that was instilled by a local engineering professor was much like STEAM as a mindset, engineering is not just getting an engineering degree. We all have engineering abilities and capabilities to be able to come up with solutions and follow that. We talked about STEM to STEAM, but I would be amiss if I didn't talk about the original STEAM star, Leonardo da Vinci. Google him too. That's another challenge for you. If you didn't already know, he was not just an artist. And that's a great quote from him. To develop a complete mind, study the science of art, study the art of science, learn how to see, realize that everything connects to everything else. And we already touched upon that earlier, but check that out. The artist, okay, I definitely thought he was the A in STEAM, but meanwhile, he was busy making a flying machine. He designed one of those. He invented the scuba suit. I mean, talk about a STEAM star. Now, here's the thing: as STEAM learners, we all learn from each other in many ways for more perspectives. Let's continue that. We have ways that are advanced and ways that they are challenged. We are all challenged in that. And yes, we get frustrated when we don't have that solution, but we find a different way or we ask someone else and we collaborate and we learn from others' mistakes. We further investigate and coordinate topics and tangents, and we fully participate, learn, and teach each other. We've already talked about how critical that sharing is. As I close out today and I thank you for your attention, I just have to continue to highlight the work of the STEAM ecosystem here in the Greater Capital Region. If you're not already involved, please be sure that you're considering doing so. Go out to the STEAM ecosystem website. There are plenty of opportunities to get involved. And if you're not already involved, please do. And if you are already involved, please continue to do so. Thank you again. I hope you enjoy the rest of your Maker Shift 2021 and take care and stay healthy.